I'm Alex Pugh, I'm the reporter from FinTech Futures. I'm at Money 2020 in Amsterdam. I'm with JB Graftieaux. He's the CEO of crypto exchange Bitstamp. You've just put out a report recently about adoption of crypto. Could you tell a little bit about that?
Sure. Hi, Alex. Yeah, pleasure to meet you today. And we have issued a survey, global survey. We have 23 countries in the scope of the survey. It's very interesting for us because what we wanted to do there is to assess the crypto adoption, if it's going to be mainstream and when, and also to understand, the challenges for the ecosystem to be mainstream. So one side is really to test the temperature. It's like a barometer, and the other one is more like, what are the challenges and what are the main barriers for the ecosystem to become mainstream. So we went through 23 countries, 28,000 respondents, so it's quite significant. 23,000 retail and 5,000 institutional. And what we are exploring here is that, interestingly, countries in the world, they have a very, I would say, diverse level of trust when it comes to crypto. So we have countries like in France, which are, very, very low, and we have countries like Spain, very, very high. Also, the US and the UK are quite high in terms of trust in crypto, but also willing to adopt, cryptocurrency mainstream. I think the key point from the survey is that we have, within the next 10 years, we have 90% of the respondents believing that crypto will be mainstream, which is very significant. And I think the question, which is like, what do we need to improve there, to make crypto more mainstream is we need to talk about, regulatory and compliance requirements, also the education and the crypto access, more generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting disparities in the report. So how do you account for variations between nations when it comes to trust from retail investors? Is it cultural? Is it regulatory?
Yeah,
exposure?
Absolutely. I think there is a mix of, if we take like the US and the UK, of course, I think the countries are very proactive on technology usually. So there is an effect on culture, of course, and usually the regulation is also more smart regulation, trying really to bring crypto to the mainstream market. After, what we see is more countries who have been late in crypto adoption, probably because they've been late in a crypto regulatory setup, and looking at France or Italy or other countries like in Europe, it's more like, I would say the second league of country. We came late after the UK and late after the US to set up a regulatory framework to embrace crypto, which means that potentially those countries over the coming years, should increase their level of trust. So it's a mix of, I would say culture, but also a regulatory aspect. I think the regulatory gives a lot of trust to the ecosystem. I think clients feel protected somehow. And the companies, being regulated, basically have a larger footprint on the market because they can work with also institutional clients, which are looking for, regulated players there. Yeah.
It's interesting that developing nations tend to trust crypto more than developed nations. You mentioned in the report that it's just trust in financial institutions potentially. Are there any other reasons you can think of maybe that explains that discrepancy?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's very interesting. If we look at the ecosystem, first Bitcoin 2009, 2008, 2009 with the white paper basically, and between 2008-9 and 2022, so much happened. I mean, I joined crypto the first time. It was 2014. It was very at the beginning of the ecosystem. No regulation, very little control. Very little control on money laundering. It was a bit the Far West at the time, but year after year there is a regulatory framework which has been put in place. Bitstamp, for instance, became the first regulated crypto exchange, 2016, and that was a trigger for us to bring institutional clients, to our business. Why? Because they are looking for trust. They are looking for players offering, I would say, the same language, like compliance, like regulatory, really understanding each other very well. And this is the direction that the ecosystem is taking at the moment, is being more regulated, which means that we see more institutional clients coming into the space. And the good thing there is that they are going to offer crypto to their end clients, if it's a bank or if it's a payment service provider. So regulatory and trust are really, really critical. And what we observe is we see more and more institutional clients entering the space. There is an opportunity of revenues, obviously, and so they need to partner with a trusted partner like Bitstamp, very regulated partner. Yeah.
Cool. Can you tell me a little bit about your new Bitstamp as a service?
Yeah, absolutely. So this Bitstamp as a service has been in place since 2017, I would say. So we have this product. It's basically a white label product that our clients can integrate to offer crypto access to their clients via the mobile application or on the web directly. And what it means basically is that if you want to buy, I don't know, Apple shares, you can also buy a Bitcoin. And this is basically the leg that Bitstamp is offering within Bitstamp as a service. So we have Revolut as a client, or the Stuttgart stock market. We also have Swissquote, which is a Swiss bank. We have many other clients offering that specific product, whereby indirectly we offer crypto to their clients.
That's obviously going to speed up adoption.
It will speed up adoption.
You're making it easier for people to get in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about regulations before. What regulations do you think are needed as institutional investors sort of pile into crypto? What kind of regulations would you like to see more of? And which do you think would be bad news for the space that would choke innovation?
Yeah, sure. I think at the moment we are in more in a regulatory transition. It's I call this like a regulatory puzzle. It's like every country has a different approach. Nevertheless, in Europe, for instance, there is MiCA, Market in Crypto Assets, which would be a regulation to regulate the entire crypto system ecosystem. And this is important because at the moment, there is not such a level playing field, across Europe, for instance. But MiCA will bring level playing field. It will bring consumer protection as well, which means that if you want to offer crypto access, you will have to be regulated according to MiCA. That will give so much trust also to institutional clients because. What I say very often is that MiCA is the twin of MiFID. MiFID is very well established for financial instruments, and MiCA will be that piece of regulation for crypto. So at the moment, it's more like a transition, but MiCA will come into force like 2 to 3 years, and it means that at this point of time, there will be one single piece of regulation that people can rely on basically, and that will be a triggering point definitely for mainstream adoption.
That will be EU-wide.
It will be EU-wide, and then after, if we take into consideration APAC, it's quite complex and fragmented at the moment. It's not like there is a crypto regulation for the whole APAC, so it's more like a country per country approach. And there is also tons of regulatory development in the US. So Bitstamp for us, we are a bit licensed in New York. We are also a money transmitter license in many states in the US, but of course monitoring on an ongoing basis, the regulatory landscape.
I wonder where the UK fits into all that.
So the UK, for sure, it's a very good question. So for us, for Bitstamp, is becoming a VASP, so virtual asset service provider, and see how the ecosystem and the regulatory landscape will evolve. There's tons of good discussion at the moment in the UK regarding marketing and publicity, for instance. So we are monitoring that very closely. But increasing regulation will increase trust and it will increase mainstream adoption, definitely.
Let's have a look. One last question. In such a fast-changing and nascent space, is there a first mover advantage? So Bitstamp has been in the space for more than a decade. Did you just get to make all the mistakes first before everybody else?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's true that Bitstamp is unique because we bring a decade of experience. We have been in the space since 2011. I think our choice of being regulated, like the first exchange in Europe, where I would say for Bitstamp, very interesting in order to attract a wide range of new institutional partners. But most importantly also to build our payment rails. So today we have almost 15 banks connected to Bitstamp to allow our clients, to bring money onto the platform. So I would say, looking at our last 10 years, definitely I think being a first mover, like first regulated, bringing a lot of trust to the platform, developing this Bitstamp as a service solution, where we see directly we have 5 million clients using Bitstamp, but indirectly via our Bitstamp as a service, we have more than 15 million clients using our service. It's a lot, our services today. And we were one of the first ones going into that Bitstamp as a service product. And definitely it's helping to have crypto mainstream 200%.
Great, thanks JB.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Cheers.
To meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.